Peacemaker, we have Abigail, her husband Nabal, future King David, David's men, the donkeys who carry the food for David, Abigail, and Abigail again. The story of Abigail is found in 1 Samuel chapter 25, verses 1 through 42. It says that Abigail was a beautiful woman who was wise, and her husband Nabal was not like her. He was mean, wicked, and nasty. Nabal had lots and lots of sheep and goats. He was a wealthy man. Nabal had his servants who took care of those animals while they were in the desert. In the same desert was a future king named David. David's men were good to Nabal's servants and sheep. They kept them safe from enemies and wild animals, like bears and mountain lions and cougars and things like that, or other people. These men helped protect Nabal's sheep and goats in the desert. And they didn't have to do that. They were doing it being nice. One day, David heard that Nabal was shearing his sheep. David sent 10 of his men to ask Nabal for a gift. The gift was to reward them for protecting Nabal's animals and servants. Nabal didn't give the men a gift. Instead, he insulted David and his men. He insulted the men who helped him when his animals were in the desert. Nabal had a chance to be kind and to repay the men for helping him while his animals were in the desert, but he chose not to. He said, I'm not giving them anything. He could have gave them a dinner or one of the animals so that they could eat, but he chose not to. When David heard this and how his men were treated, he put on his sword. Let's get his sword right here. He put on his sword, and his men carried their swords also. And they were going to go fight Nabal. Nabal's servants heard this, and they were like, oh no. David, who is a mighty warrior, is going to come and fight us. He's going to kill all of us. None of us will be left alive. So they went and told Abigail what David's men were going to do. Abigail heard this and acted quickly. She gathered bread and wine and grain and raisins and figs, and she sent her servants to take the gift to David. Now here's the gift. There's raisins and bread and grain and food for them to eat as a payment for what they had done for Nabal. Abigail met David as he went out to fight Nabal. She got off of her donkey and bowed down to the ground. She begged David, don't pay attention to Nabal. God is keeping you from doing something you'll be sorry for. David listened to Abigail. And David said, praise God, you have kept me from doing this wrong. Because if he had killed Nabal for not giving him a gift, that would have haunted him all the rest of his life. People would have said, oh, David's not fair. He's not fair. David accepted the gift. He told Abigail, go home in peace. And that is what Abigail did. She went home glad that she had made peace between David and her wicked husband, Nabal. But the story doesn't end there. After Abigail went home, she told wicked Nabal what she had done. All of a sudden, Nabal was sick. 10 days later, he died. Nabal was mad because he was stingy. He didn't care about how other people felt or being a blessing to others or trying to be nice to others or respecting others. And he was upset that his food was given away. When David heard that Nabal was dead, he sent for Abigail to be his wife. Abigail, the Peacemaker, had a happy ending to her story. Do you want to have a happy ending to your story? Do you want to be a peacemaker like Abigail? Sometimes it's not easy to be a peacemaker. Abigail had to be brave to face David and his men who were angry and ready to fight. Abigail needed to remember the truth in our memory verse. Be strong and of a good courage, for the Lord thy God is with thee. Joshua chapter 1 verse 9, the King James Version. Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God will be with you. Joshua chapter 1 verse 9, NIV.